Hey, deserving listeners, 90 Day Fiancé. Let's watch.
I don't want to give up on my relationship with Evelyn. So I'm just hoping that things can work itself out.
What's it been like here since she asked you to move out?
It's been weird. She hasn't really been wanting to talk with me. She wants me to move out. I don't want to move out.
All right, so we're still in that zone that we were last time. Evelyn has told him to move out. She has said she doesn't want to be in a relationship with him, and he isn't moving out. Now, I think that they probably both pay rent, so she doesn't have the right necessarily to kick him out. So maybe that's why he's staying. But I think a lot of people would say, at the very least, you should accept that she has ended the relationship. I mean, she has asserted that quite firmly a number of times, not, months ago as well. It's time to, if you were one of his friends or a family member, you'd be like, dude, it's probably time to cut your losses and come home and just, date someone else. She doesn't want to be with you, so why are you forcing it? But on the other hand, she has used breaking up as a communication tool to get him to change. She has said as much. She said that exactly. She said, I didn't really break up with him. I only broke up with him because I wanted him to, well, she said at the time she wanted him to learn Spanish and something else, maybe become more independent. That was usually her complaint about him. And so she didn't really mean to break up with him, which is obviously not a right-headed way to live life. If you have a request of your partner, by all means, make that request. But to break up with them in a manipulative way to motivate them, that's awful, right? Just imagine your spouse wants you to put the seat down on the toilet or do more chores or be nicer to them. And they're like, well, I'm going to divorce you. But secretly, I'm going to hope that you realize that I mean business and I need you to follow my directives or my requests. There are some situations where I could see that being somewhat justified if you're being abused, that kind of thing. I don't know. Anyway, so under normal circumstances, I'd say cut your losses. She broke up with you, leave, or at least start the process of not living together. But he's learned, I think, that when she says, I'm done with you, that might be an invitation to actually, I'm trying to send a message. And if you demonstrate to me that you've changed, then we're back on in the relationship. So, it's a pretty dysfunctional way of trying to communicate what you want out of a relationship from both ends, really.
Evelyn wants me to leave, but I told her I'm going to fight for our relationship until the day that I'm basically forced out of there.
Right. Again, under normal circumstances, I'd say that's not until you're forced out of there. That sounds like you're physically imposing yourself on someone because you want to be in a relationship with them, even though they don't want to be in a relationship with you. That's not okay. But on the other hand, we've heard from her that she breaks up with people as a way of communicating. And so this might actually be what she wants. She might want him to fight and stay and prove himself. That might literally be what she wants, but it'd be hard to know because how do you know if she's, being honest about wanting to break up?
Since I asked him to leave, he's been writing these notes. I have more that he gave me.
What does the note say?
It's just a saying, give me another chance, give me another chance. Every time we have a problem, it's like, I promise you I'll do this, I promise you I'll do that.
And we have to remind ourselves what the transgression is. She broke up with him, said she wanted a divorce, and I think even kicked him out of their place. He took her word for it that they were broken up. He was very sad and went to another country, met a woman, dated her for a while, and then came back to Evelyn because he had to get his stuff. And then one thing led to another, and he got back together with, they rekindled their relationship. So like I've been saying from the beginning, you can make an argument that he was still technically legally married and thus under certain people's morals shouldn't have been with anyone else during that time. But I don't know, from my cultural moral compass, it's totally fine to be with someone else, even though the government doesn't know you've broken up. You know, you've broken up, you're divorced, your relationship is over. The government just hasn't been informed yet. I find when you're in that situation, according to my moral compass, it's okay to date other people, but maybe other people have different ideas. And so he is desperately apologizing, and she is 100% convinced that he is a horrible partner. And so we just have to remind ourselves what they're fighting about, because that's what they're fighting about.
It's all words and no actions, so. It's been several days now since Corey told me the truth about his relationship with that thing. I cannot even think about what happened or how to process it when he is always around.
Now, there was another thing there that he did do, which is he lied. I'm reminded. He lied to Evelin at first about the extent of his relationship with this other woman. He said that it was just a short little relationship, when in reality it was a few months, I think. And that's lies. That's wrong. Shouldn't have done that. And he absolutely should apologize for that. But that's not what they're fighting about. What they're fighting about is that he was just even with her. The lies, I think, are a part of the discussion, but I think the main transgression, the main rule breakage, is that he was just with anyone after they broke up.
Because I see it and I get mad. I'm just mad the whole time. This is not the way I want to be feeling in my own house. I asked him to leave, but he hasn't left yet.
And who's paying rent? That's the question I have. If she's paying rent, then okay. I think just because you break up with someone doesn't mean you can just make them homeless, right? But if she's paying rent, then okay. But if they're both paying rent, then why does he have to go? Now, in their narrative, he's the one who has made a mistake, and so therefore he has, defaulted on his right to live in the house. He made the mistake, so he's the one who's got to go. So maybe that's what they're operating from.
I mean, I don't know how many times I have to repeat myself to Corey for him to actually understand. At least in this one, it says, I respect your decision. At the end, it says that. So I'm hoping that he actually does.
All right. So she seems resolved. She's done with the relationship. But she said something else interesting that I don't know if I showed the clip. She says that I can't process what's happening with him living here because he's making me so angry. I think that implies she's saying that there might be a door ajar to their relationship being back on again. If she can have some space, maybe she can think more clearly and come back to him. I think that's what she's saying.
Look, I have communicated to you what I want.
Yeah.
And I already say and express that I want you gone. Sending me notes and flowers is not gonna help. And in this last note you sent me, you said that you respect my decision. So then respect it.
All right, sounds pretty definitive. Please respect my decision that our relationship is over and you need to move on. It sounds pretty sure, right? So let's see what he says.
And I also need to know, are you gonna sign the divorce papers?
I'm not gonna sign the divorce papers, not yet.
But then I'm gonna have to start a legal process against you, Corey.
Yikes. Yeah, she has the right to break up with him. She has the right to divorce him. And he's saying, I'm not going to do it. Now, I think he thinks that he is being a good husband by saying, I'm not going to sign the divorce papers. Given what she has said, that she will use and has breakup communication as a way of trying to emphasize that she wants him to change, but she doesn't actually want to break up, then that gives him, I guess, reasons to believe that in order to prove himself as a dedicated husband, he has to actually refuse to sign those papers. He might be thinking that she secretly wants him to not sign the papers, which if that's wrong, then she only has herself to blame for that, because she has created a precedent. You cry wolf enough times and eventually no one's going to believe you. If you keep breaking up with someone and saying that, well, I only did that because I was trying to motivate him, then when you really do want to break up, then no one's going to believe you. And I don't know. We don't know the full extent of their back and forth, but at least that's a possibility. But I will say, yikes to Corey. She's being definitive. She's saying, I need you to sign the divorce papers. And he's saying, I'm not going to do it. It's like, she can't break up with you. You're not going to allow that to happen.
Why?
Because I'm not going to accept it. I want you to give me another chance. I don't want to give up on this.
I don't know if this applies here, but this as a behavior is absolutely scary. It is stalkery. It is abusive. And there are people, particularly men, but women too, who will do this, where you will be saying, I'm breaking up with you. And they're like, I'm not going to let you. I need you to give me another chance. And they will trap you. And it's essentially stalking your partner who has broken up with you. It's not giving them space. It's invading their space. And it can be extremely scary. I don't know if I don't think Corey is engaging in this right now, but it's not okay. If someone says, I'm done with you, I've broken up with you, you have to accept that. Even if you think they're playing a game, you just have that she has the right to say, we're done.
I don't want this to be nasty. I don't want to have the landlords involved and police involved, but I will do that if you don't leave.
I'm going to stay with Raul until you change your mind.
Then Raul can be a new couple then.
Now, he could argue, look, you don't have the right to kick me out of my own place. Both of our names are on the lease, and now, but he's not saying, look, if you want to leave, you can go, but I'm not going to leave, because this is, that's not what he's saying. What he's saying is, I need you to give me another chance, which is, it's not okay.
Thanks for the flowers.
I will commend her for being calm and collected and matter of fact and clear and not being hostile, just like, in a nice voice, just, we're broken up, please leave, we're done, accept that. So, good for her for being clear and calm.
Thanks for the flowers.
I've been in these situations before, and we've worked, back into things, but this time it's like a whole nother level. Like, I feel like she has never been this devoted to us separating, and it's really scary, actually.
All right, so we're hearing two things. One, that she has been like this before, and the way they get through it is by him being very apologetic and, pursuing her and eventually winning her back. And so that lends itself to the hypothesis that she has fake or temporarily broken up with him without really breaking up with him several times. So we know at least that happened once, but he's saying it's happened a number of times. The other thing we're hearing is that he's saying that he's never seen her this adamant about it, which is interesting, and thus he should be listening. I think. I mean, there's a possibility that she is temporarily breaking up with him again, I guess, but there's a lot of reasons to believe that, this is the actual time.
But if Evelyn serves me with divorce papers right now, I'll rip them up in her face.
Yikes. A little statement there. If she serves me the divorce papers, I'm going to rip them up in her face. Now, Corey's a nice person, so I figure the reason why he's saying that is because he's going to say, no, I'm going to prove to you that I am in it to win it, and I know that you want me to prove this to you. So I think that's what's happening, but either way, I mean, if someone serves you divorce papers, one, go along with it in most situations, and two, give someone their own autonomy. If they want to break up with you, then you can't force them into a relationship with you. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.